Welcome to Health Media Now with award-winning author and host Denise Messenger for a lifetime of health empowerment. Live by being in the pink, meaning P stands for being persistent, I stands for using your intuition, N stands for networking, and K stands for obtaining knowledge. Our guests entertain and share cutting-edge information. They share with you what may have taken years to achieve through experience in their field. Become inspired and motivated. Reach your full potential with fascinating tips and products. Receive a lifetime of benefits from authors, doctors, practitioners, healthcare providers, and learn about exciting new products. You asked for it, and we deliver. Now, here's your host, Denise Messenger.
Welcome, listeners. This is our first show of 2018, and it's January 10th. Oh, I have a wonderful guest today. He's been on our show before, and we're so happy that he's agreed to come back. It is Allen Kline. And
drum roll, big drum roll.
Allen is our Mr. Jollytologist. He has audiences worldwide, and it's all about humor and a positive way of thinking. That's what Allen's all about. He's an award-winning professional speaker and the recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Association of Applied and Therapeutic Humor. His awards go on, and his travels go on, and he has authored over 26 books. So today, we're going to talk about his newest book, and it is called Secrets Kids Know That Adults Oughta Learn. Hello, Allen.
Hello, Denise. First one of the year. I love it.
Isn't that great?
I'm going to set the bar for the bar high for the rest of your guests.
I think the show's going on 5 years now.
Wow.
I don't know where it all went.
Congratulations. That is fabulous.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So tell us, where did you get the idea to write this book?
So it started many years ago. My daughter was a young teenager, and I was writing my first book, and every 15 minutes there'd be a knock on the door, interrupting me, and I go, "Yes, Sarah, what do you want?" And she would tell me things that could have waited, like, "What are we having for dinner?" or "Can my friend come over and play?" or "Did you see her friend's new haircut?" And, things that kids say. And I could not get my book done. So one day I put a big sign on the door that said, "Sarah, do not disturb unless it's an emergency." 10 minutes later, knock on the door. Now I'm really furious. Denise, "Yes, Sarah, what do you want? Is this an emergency?" And she said, "Yes, Dad, open the door." And I opened the door and I said, "What is the emergency?" And she said, "Dad, I want to tell you I love you."
Oh.
And I thought, oh, my God, how could I be angry with her? And I realized how wise kids are, because here, Sarah, I'm writing a book about humor, and Sarah was teaching me that I was getting too serious.
Ah.
And so I realized I just started taking notes of her and her friends and other kids that I had in my life, and just notice how often they just cut through stuff. They have this innate wisdom that I think we lose when we grow up. And so I thought maybe it's time that adults learn some things from kids instead of what we think should be the other way around.
Well, the idea started a long time ago. Did you keep a diary of things that children
I kept some notes. A lot of it's in my head. I also interviewed a lot of people now for the current book and see what they learned from their kids. And I just started to collect those wonderful stories that are in the book and kind of recalling my own life when kids taught me stuff and put together 18 wise, wonderful, and witty stories about what kids can teach us.
A lot. I agree with you. An awful lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking now at the index, not the index, the contents.
Mm-hmm.
And they can show us how to be more amazing in the world, how to look around and listen, that the world is so amazing that maybe to eat dessert first. So to be more bold, to be creative and color outside the lines, to be curious. I think adults often become too blasé and forget about being curious. To be a daydreamer because everything starts with our thoughts. So, just on and on of stuff that kids teach us.
Well, their minds haven't been formed and molded into certain ways of thinking. That all starts once they get into school.
Well, schools also, parents, I think, teach kids to. I don't know about you, Denise, but when I was growing up, I was told to settle down, be serious. Alan, wipe that smirk off your face.
Really?
And then what happens? Well, yeah. I was a very, hard to believe, but I was a very shy, very quiet child, but I did kind of some goofy stuff sometimes that I was told not to do. I remember I once had to stay after school because I imitated the teacher during the class.
Oh.
She didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't have those sort of memories. I just recall my mother putting me into a lot of different organizations. She said I was too shy.
Ah.
So she put me into all these social things.
And was that beneficial?
I came out of my shyness, but it was, way past adolescence, that's for sure. It's probably more like the end of my 20s.
Well, I'm no different. I still have. I had it framed. It's on the wall in my living room. My wife gave me a snail shell with a little boy crawling out of it.
Oh.
Yeah, that somebody sculpted, and it was just a reminder of me kind of maturing, kind of late, but getting my own voice and who I am, and appreciating and kind of patting myself on the back for what I've done and was doing, and kind of opening up. And kids show us that. My wife showed me that, and here I am doing it. Took many years.
You really are. Yeah, you really are. And I'm so glad that you chose humor.
Well, I think it chose me. I think we talked about this on a previous show, but I'd like to tell your listeners again, because I'm sure you have new listeners, and how I came into the humor business and how I started to look into therapeutic humor. And it started many years ago when my wife went to the doctor just for a physical checkup. And the doctor said, there's something not right here. I need to put you in the hospital and do some tests. And they did that, and the results came back. And they found out my wife had a rare liver disease, primary biliary cirrhosis. And it wasn't that funny, but she had a great sense of humor and continued to use it even during those difficult years. So she was in the hospital. She had a copy of Playgirl magazine with the male nude centerfold. And she said, Alan, hey, I really like this male centerfold this month. Can you put it on the wall over there? And I said, Ellen, this is a hospital. Little risque for that. She said, well, she looked at it and she said, well, maybe you're right. She said, why don't you go over there and get a leaf from the plant and cover up that part? And I did that, and things are fine for the first day, fine for the second day, but by the third day, Denise, the leaf starts shriveling up. and revealing what we were trying to conceal. And I realized, looking back, it wasn't a lot of laughter. It was only 5 or 10 seconds. But it helped us revive us, gave us a different perspective, helped us rise above the situation, even for a little, 10, 15, 20 seconds. But it helped us get through that difficult time. And then we'd come home from the hospital and we would just look at a leaf or a plant and we would start to laugh. And there was a lot of tears, certainly, but the laughter, as I recall, was like this breath of fresh air and really helped us get through that difficult time. And so I went back to school. I got a master's degree in human, Human development, and my thesis became my first book, which is The Healing Power of Humor. And now I've been doing that for many, many years and spreading how therapeutic humor can help us get through anything. And I've kind of expanded it now to not only humor, which is having a positive attitude, but having a positive attitude towards anything in our life.
Yes, indeed. It definitely gets you through some tough times. There's no question about that.
Right.
Let's talk about the illustrations of your book. Why
All
do you
right.
see
Thanks for
that
reminding
as
me.
as like a mini miracle?
Yeah, well,
what's the
I
backstory?
things happen in my life that amaze me, and so I call those mini miracles. So many happen almost every day. My daughter's an artist, and I thought she does these wonderful little adorable drawings, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if she illustrated each of those chapters? So she started doing that. There's a chapter on Be a Napper, and she has this she used teddy bears, and she has a teddy bear in a chair and with its feet on an ottoman, and the teddy bear's taking a nap. In Be Kind, she has 2 teddy bears hugging each other. So she did all these drawings, and I sent them to the publisher, and they didn't know what she was doing. They were doing the cover of the book. They didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know what they were doing. She did teddy bears, and on the cover of the book, they put a teddy bear. I guess people call that synchronistic.
I'll say. Oh, my gosh.
I call it a mini miracle, yeah.
It really is. Ha! They were all on the same wavelength. They didn't know it.
Exactly. So I was, of course, really pleased. It was fun to have this father-daughter team. We've never done anything like this before, and so this was a first, and we both loved it.
Oh, that's so neat to have that collaboration. Huh.
Yeah, and and it's so appropriate for the book. Secrets Kids Know. Here's my daughter.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what is important in which we must learn from children.
Well, as I just said, one of them is be loving, be kinder, be more compassionate. I mean, I was at a conference several years ago, and I met this young kid, and we were kind of joking around at the lunch table. And later that morning, I saw the kid, and they saw me way down the pathway. And they came running at me and just gave me this biggest hug. Now, I had just met them the day before. But kids that do that, I mean, they're loving, kind to everyone until that's kind of, I think, drummed out of them. And if they get angry, often they will not stay angry. If another kid takes their toy, they'll go, I never want to see you again. And then 2 minutes later, they're playing with that kid again. And I think it has to be, it's drilled out of kids. I have a friend who had her grandkids over her house, and one of them was yelling at the other and screaming, I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you. And the grandmother went over and said, that is terrible. You should never say that. Where did you learn that? And the kid said, oh, I learned it from you, Grandma. Because she would say it all the time when she got angry.
Oh my gosh.
So, kids are like sponges, I think. When my daughter was growing up, I remember I'd say something or do something, and she would just do the same thing. So I think we drum some of that loving, kind compassion out of kids as they grow up.
Mm. What are the 18 secrets that you have in the book?
We'll have to spend half a day going over all of them, but
just do a couple then.
We'll do some. We'll do some of my favorites. So, kids think the sky's the limit. Two stories about that. One was a child and a young girl, and her mother was at the zoo, and they were talking, and she said, "Dear, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And she said, "Oh, I want to be a nurse. There's a lot of women who are nurses." And she said, "Well, just because you were a woman, a girl, female, you don't have to be a nurse. You can be whatever you want." And the young girl said, "Oh, great. Then I'll be a camel." And so the sky's the limit. They could be whatever they want. They could have whatever they want in the world. So another little kid, the father took her to what is it called? Take Your Child to Work Day, and people were asking, "Oh, do you want to be a reporter like your dad? He worked at a newspaper." And she said, "No, when I grow up, I want to be a dancer, clown, doctor who drives bulldozers."
Oh, what an imagination.
Exactly. And kids, it's like the world is abundant. They can be anything they want. They're always saying yes to things. Adults are going, "No, I can't do that. I don't have the money. I don't have the time." And kids are going, "Why can't we do that? Why can't?" And so I think the kids see the world more abundantly than adults, and it's definitely something we can learn. And in fact, I started thinking about that, and I thought, I've got to write a book about abundance. So I'm working on that book.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's.
Do you ever?
One book leads to another. I don't know about other writers, but when I'm writing one book, it's just, that's a great idea. I can expand on that and put it somewhere else. So. So abundance. I think adults think the sky's the limit, and I see that all the time in my life, Denise. Give you another example and another mini miracle. I'm from New York City, so I try to get there every year. I had an apartment I stayed at my cousin's house. She passed away. I had nowhere to stay, and I went to this conference. And there's a cocktail party, and I don't know this woman, but she comes over to me, and I'm fairly nicely dressed with a tie and a jacket, and she said, "You are so cute. You are so adorable." And we just start laughing. And I said, "Where are you from?" And she said, "New York City." And I said, "Oh, that's where I was born." And we start laughing and chatting. And I said, "I'm going there in a couple of months, and I don't have an apartment to stay at anywhere now because my cousin died, and I used to stay there." And she said, "When are you going?" And I told her the dates, and she said, "Oh, we're going to be in Italy the same time. You could stay at my apartment."
Oh my gosh!
And I said, "What do you charge?" And she said, "Nothing. You could just stay there." So I've done that for the last 4 years, and I'm going to do that again this year.
Oh my gosh! Do you
the
see
world
them
is
at
abundant.
All?
Pardon me?
Do you see them at all? When you stay in their place,
people, no, we email. I haven't seen her since that cocktail party.
Oh my gosh!
Because we pass in the night, She goes off to Europe,
crazy.
And I go to New York.
That is so crazy. That's just crazy good, really.
So and the sky's the limit. I mean, another wonderful story about that, and another mini miracle is, I used to work in New York City at Captain Kangaroo, and every year he was the MC for the Macy Day Thanksgiving Parade. And so now I'm in California. I'm watching the parade a couple of years ago, and I'm thinking, God, I would love to be in that parade. I kind of worked on it all those years, but I didn't know, how do you do that? How do you get in the Macy Day Parade? And I thought, I don't know, but the world is abundant, and I believe in 6 degrees of separation, and there must be somebody in the world that can help me get in the parade. So I put it on Facebook, and one of my colleague friends said she will find out how I do it. She got me the right person to contact. I told him my story of working with Captain Kangaroo in the parade. What do you think happened a couple of years ago? I was in the Macy Day Parade.
You are a man that makes things happen.
Well, I totally believe in abundance, and that, like kids, that the sky's the limit, and you visualize, you picture what you want.
That's right.
And then, I did a TED Talk 2 years ago, 2016. This is 2018. And I wanted to do one, so at the beginning of the year, I usually look over my, bucket list. And I put down I wanted to do, this was January 5th, I put down I wanted to do a TED Talk. At the end of the month, I got an email, unsolicited, asking me if I'd want to do a TED Talk. April, 22nd, I think, I did a TED Talk.
Where? What city?
In California, in Cupertino, where Apple Computer is.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So, again, world is abundant, sky's the limit. Ask for what you want, visualize it, go do it.
That's right. Ask for what you want.
Yeah,
and visualize
that's what
it.
kids do. They always ask, why can't I have that? Mom, I want that toy. I want that cell phone.
Yep.
And so just start seeing the world through the eyes of a child, and some of that will manifest.
I guess you have a section in your book, I'm looking here, and it's titled Grow Down. What do you mean by that?
Well, when we are smaller, we're told to grow up. And so I think adults get too grown up sometimes, and maybe we need to grow down a bit. So throughout the book, to kind of help people kind of use what's in the book, not just the stories, but how to get it in their own life, I have, not all chapters, I think, but most of the chapters has a grow down section. And so it's things that adults can do to become less adult, less serious. So I'm just looking at one here. I don't know what chapter it is because they all relate to the chapter. So let me see. Okay, so this is Be Optimistic. So there are some things that people can do to be more optimistic. We were just talking about this, abundance, actually.
Sure. Sure.
So these are not funny. These are things that adults can do, but to see what you want to happen with ease and grace, to be grateful for everything that happens in your life, because I think that the more you're grateful, the more things come into your life for which to be grateful. To clearly picture what you want in your mind, or I like to do drawings, and I have one on the wall now of lots of stuff. In fact, it has a $1 million bill, fake bill on it. So more money comes in my life. Use affirmations, stuff like that. So it's like things that people can do reading the book, not just read the book, but actually go and do something.
Those are all really great suggestions.
Thanks.
So what have people been saying about your book?
Oh dear. Well, they've been saying great things. I don't know that I have any of them in front of me. There were a couple of wonderful ones. Well,
yeah,
I'm just
I
opening the
looked it
book.
I looked it up on Amazon, and there's some wonderful quotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, people are saying, oh, thank you for writing the book because, and I'm paraphrasing, because I've grown too serious, and this will show me how to lighten up a bit in my life. Here's one in the front of the book that says, Secrets Kids Know made me smile countless times as it genuinely captures the magic of childhood. So that's what I basically try to do for readers. So another thing that I think we can learn from kids is how to be more creative, because kids are really creative. I have a story in the book about a teacher who went into a high school classroom and put a dot with a chalk on the blackboard and asked the class what that is, and most of them said, it's a dot on the blackboard. She then went, literally that's what it was. So then she went to a kindergarten class and put a dot on the blackboard and asked the kids, what is this? And kids said things like, oh, it's a dog scene from the roof of the Empire State Building. It's a fly in a windshield. It's a spaceship in outer space. The point is, kids are so creative. And so one of the exercises I do in my play workshops, not only Yuma workshops, but the play workshop, is I ask the people, at their job, what are some of the challenges that they're facing? And then we do a process where they look at how would a child deal or solve that challenge. And it's amazing how it just frees up the people to think differently, maybe even come up with a solution, and if nothing else, to lighten up their challenge.
Yeah.
So
we have a really good quote in your book, the world needs our light. Perhaps it is time to put aside our shyness, be bold like a child, and shine as bright as we can.
Yeah, I advise people to go to playgrounds and just sit and watch the kids, because they are just so bright, so full of energy, just so imaginative, creative, play. They play with anything, as a toy for them. They amuse. I was at the airport not too long ago, and the plane was several hours late, and two kids took out their little cars and trucks. All the adults were fuming, but the kids sat on the rug, made believe the pattern in the rug was a highway, and they were just having such a great time. And so, again, adults can learn that, to take, there's an opportunity to have more fun, be more creative when the plane is late.
Yep, no doubt.
So
why don't you tell our audience where they can get your book?
So, almost anywhere.
Good.
Certainly online. The book is in paperback, ebook, audio CD, at Amazon, Barnes & Noble,
wonderful,
Google Play, IndieBound, iTunes, or my website.
My goodness. And what's your website?
So, it is www.allenkline.com. But they got to spell my name right, ALLENKLEIN.com.
Yeah, easy enough.
Right.
So what are your parting words?
Can I tell a quick little, maybe this quick little story of how to...
Good. Please do.
To maybe look through the eyes of a child. So the kids were in the cafeteria at a Catholic school, and they were online, and they were taking, a lot of them were taking, there was a bowl of apples, taking more than one apple. So the nun put a sign on the apples, God is watching, only take one apple. Down the line was a whole bowl of cookies. Kid put a sign on, take as many as you want, God is watching the apples.
I love it.
So kids are creative. Adults can learn from them.
Thank you, Allen. It's been absolutely delightful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And grow down a little.
All right. We will.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
That concludes our show for today. I hope you all have enjoyed it as much as we have. Tune in again next Wednesday. We'll have another wonderful guest for you. Until then, be well. Bye-bye.
We celebrate our listeners worldwide and invite you to contact Denise at www.healthmedianow.com with any questions you may have, and follow her on Twitter at Health Media Now and Facebook at Health Media Now. For those interested in an advertising campaign on her show, contact Lisa at KnowledgeWorksPub.com. Be sure to visit GotCancerNowWhat.com for information on Denise Messenger's award-winning book, Got Cancer? Now What?